Hey man, I am so fired up that we finally got this put together and so glad to have you here today, Oscar. How you doing, my friend?
I say, just trying to make some tequilas for the people because at the end of the day, we are producing maybe too much just to drink for myself, so we can share, right?
Yes, I do know you have a lot of tequila.
Thanks to God and thanks to the
Okay,
people.
so do me a favor, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Okay, well, for the people who don't know me, my name is Oscar Vazquez. My full name is Oscar Osvaldo Vazquez Camarena. So right now I am living here in Arandas, Jalisco, and my job, my skills, my way to put a little bit food on my table is making tequila. So for some brands, I am a master distiller. For another ones, I am advisor, consultant. So right now, thank to God and the new opportunities, I am in middle of different brands, right? Helping, supporting, producing. So my at the end of the day, my job it's in different labels. You know what I mean? I am just jump in between different distilleries, between different noms, between different brands. At the end of the day, just helping. Okay. So I am a chemist. I am studying chemistry in the university. My first job, almost 15 years ago, was in charge about the lab, the laboratory in a very, very good respected distillery. I finished my job in that distillery 2 years ago. Yeah, like 2 years ago, and trying to make something different. The new opportunities start to come in with me to give my support as an advisor, consultant, master distiller. So different things, right? The people who know me, I am very simple man, just trying to keep going in this life.
Well, I'll also add to that one of the nicest people and the most genuine people that I have met in Arandas and visiting is you, my friend. So you have to put that on your resume as well. You are a great guy. So,
Thanks so much.
and a very humble guy.
Well, let me tell you this very quickly. I feel so humble and no, I feel so blessed. Sorry, my English sometimes is not working so much. I feel so blessed because I have the opportunity to support my family making something very something that has a lot of passion, at least for me, right? Which is the tequila production again in different stage in different labels, but at the end of the day the tequila production is something that when you have the opportunity and came to Mexico or came to the distilleries more specifically, and you can realize about the people, the passion, how many hours we are spending just in order to produce one bottle of tequila, then you realize a little bit that at the end of the day there is a lot of work, there is a lot of people behind, there is a lot of hands. And I feel so blessed because I have the greatest opportunity that the people know a little bit my face, right? Maybe in some scenario, I am the person responsible. Well, I am the person in charge for the tequila. Maybe it has a good flavor or bad flavor or something like that. At the end of the day, there is a lot of factors. You know what I mean, right? I am so blessed because I have that opportunity in order to show a little bit, to share and to show a little bit the things that we are doing every single day here in Jalisco, here in Mexico, and that right now it's in all around the world, right? This is just water.
We are blessed and honored to have you here. And I'm really excited about this series that we're going to set up where we talk about what a master distiller does and you'll get the opportunity to explain how you make different profiles for different brands and really explain the process to people. And I think there's a lot of people that want to get more knowledge and education on how their tequila is made and why tequilas can taste different.
Hmm.
So, and I look forward to doing that with you and having that come up. So, if you could, why don't you explain some of the brands that you currently work with and maybe highlight this brand right here where you're the new master distiller?
Yeah, yes, these people give me the opportunity, and I am trying to be at that with that commitment. Well, talking about what is a master distiller, in my own opinion, right, is my personal. So everything, all the things than I am talking with you, Brad, and with all the people that is watching this video. At the end of the day, it's just my opinion. Okay, maybe I am wrong, maybe not. It's depending what we are looking for. Because at the end of the day, at least for me, the word master, it's a very, very big word. You know what I mean? Because a master is somebody who manage everything. And trust me, I am not managing everything. Maybe in some day, with enough time or more years, I can pretend myself that I am a master. Anyway, right now I am just person who has passion for the tequila production and trying to support my family. Easy like that. Talking about the tequila, talking about the productions. In some point, let me tell you this. According by the Mexican law to produce tequila, right now there is, if I can remember, 80 different noms, so different distilleries that we can produce tequila. And if I can remember, right now there is 3,000 brands of tequila in the market. So at the end of the day, how is the difference that we can produce different tequilas? When you are following a recipe to produce tequila, that recipe says that you need blue agave, some way to cook, some way to extract the juices, fermentation and distillation. That's the recipe, right? If you are following that recipe here in the tequila in the distilleries, at the end of the day, trust me, you are producing tequila. The funny part about this is that almost anybody is talking about how the agave, for example, is playing a little bit with the different flavors. Hola, hija, diles hola. Hola. Estoy ocupadito, ya vete para allá. Sorry for that. It's my older daughter. Déjame trabajar. So, for example, when we are harvesting the agave, right? So, when you are here, Brad, you can remember that in average, we are cutting some part of the agave, right? We are trying to collect as much as possible the piña and some part of the penca, okay? If you can realize, there is a measure that we are cutting that leaf, right? A little bit more, a little bit less. So, since the agave, we can imagine what kind of flavors we can produce at the end of the day. For example, agave with more penca with a little bit more long leaves can give you more herbal flavors like green, like some things, but also can give you a little bit more bitter notes, right? If you are using, for example, more the center, more the piña by itself, you can get at the end of the day maybe more sweet flavors, maybe more fruity flavors, but less complexity. So I am not pretending to be different, but when you are starting to understand that every process, every step at the end of the day, for so small that it looks like, at the end of the day has a big difference, right? The way that you are cooking the agave. Anyway, if you are using an oven or an autoclave or another way, or the fermentation, the distillation, what kind of yeast you are using. If you are using, for example, a wild yeast or drum yeast or champagne yeast or a lot of things that we can play. In my personal opinion, for example, we are producing tequila in the fermentation process. For me, is the most important part. Everything is important, okay? But for me, the fermentation process is one of the most important because in the fermentation process, we see since the point of view of the chemistry, we are turning or we are changing the sugars into alcohol, right? But again, when we are producing tequila, we are not producing just one alcohol. For example, in the fermentation, in a normal fermentation, we are producing between 15 to 16, 17 different kind of alcohols, right? That at the end of the day, we know as an superior alcohols, aldehydes, esters. So a lot of chemical compounds that in some point is very funny when you are understand everything. And most when you are making the distillation, right? Because again, when you are making some distillation, if you are using stainless steel or if you are using copper or you are using an column, so maybe I am not telling anything at the end of the day, but trust me, in some point let me tell you this. When you are reaching or when you are getting closer a little bit more in the tequila production, for example, you realize that every single time you understand more, but you know less about the, the everything. It's a little bit clear, or I am just giving you different words.
That's very good. That's very good. Tell us a little bit about the brands that you're currently working with. Who are the brands that you're currently that you can talk about that you're currently working with to make their tequila?
Yeah. Well, something that I am exploring right now in order to give different options, right? Because at the end of the day, again, it's just different options. Then or later we can discuss if it is good or bad. In this point, it's just different, right? Right now, for example, the tequilas that I am supporting with my face or with my signature is tequila en el alma, mosto, tierra de ensueño, corrido, and a new one that is almost into the market. I hope right now for May, which is manuscrito. So every single one of these different brands is produced in different noms, right? For example, Tequila en el Alma, we are working with Tequila en el Alma in the nom 1639, which is a Grupo Peña Blanca de los Altos. Grupo Peña Blanca de los Altos is a really new distillery that we are using, for example, in the general, brick ovens, roller mills, and stainless steel and copper for the distillation, right? For example, Tequila en el Alma was my first official brand when I start to looking for these kind of opportunities. And then more brands like, for example, Tierra de Ensueño. Maybe it's a little bit more familiar. The Tierra de Ensueño is produced in NOM 1580, which is Hacienda El Olvido. Brick ovens, roller mills, open fermentations, and copper distillation. In NOM 1580, also, I am working with Tequila Mosto. It's a really new brand also that is just right now in the United States in the market, and we are looking for make a little bit more bigger. In the NOM 1643, which is Distillery El Sabino, again another very new distillery. Right now, that distillery is a little bit more familiar because in that distillery we are producing Zumbador and Lopez. Well, that brands are the first brand of that distillery, and in that distillery I am making Manuscrito tequila. Manuscrito is again a new tequila brand that we are trying to put into the market. And in the NOM 1412, if I am wrong with the NOMs, sorry, in the NOM 1412, Tequila Corrido, by the way, give me the opportunity to be the new master distiller, right? Tequila Corrido, for example, is one brand that has more years into the market, has a little bit more reputation, more experience into the market. Right now, Tequila Corrido is produced in Arandas in Destiladora de los Altos, which is familiar for Hacienda Vieja, the name. And yes, they give me the opportunity to be his master distiller for this new brand. What's the way that we are producing different brands in different noms? I am very open with the people, so I invite to all the people every single time that you want to came to Mexico to came with me 1, 2, 3, 4 days in order to be present and in order to try to understand a little bit how different it could be the tequila when you are producing tequilas for different brands, right? Not just talking about different distilleries, right? Because in some point when you start to understand a little bit that, again, you can realize that the water is very different, the yeast is very different, the equipment. So at the end of the day, I am trying to right now. Let me tell you this: since the people think that I have a good ideas in order to the tequila production flavors and aromas on all these things, I am very open to listen the ideas, right? Okay, I am a producer, I am a tequila maker. So talk to me and give me your opinion in order to, in your opinion, what is the flavor, what is the aroma, what is the body that the tequila looks like or has to get, right? And then with my small expertise in the tequila production, I can realize that, for example, we can making more cuts in heads or more yeast or more agave or less water or something. we can get closer a little bit to that specific flavors, right? Because at the end of the day, every single palate is very, very different. At the end of the day, at least for me, there is not bad tequila, right? It's just different consumers at different levels, right? Levels like that, for example, right now, the people is really, really focused in tequila with high quality in a different range of money, the different prices. But even the low tequila cost, it doesn't mean that they has a poor quality or lower quality, right? At the end of the day, you are just looking for a different things, and it's fair at the end of the day. So that's, in my opinion, that's mostly my skills, my job, my understanding about the tequila. At the end of the day, I can get an idea in order to the tequila that you have in your mind try to convert in something possible into the reality, into the real, right? I understand that part.
Yes, yes. And I have had several of the tequilas that you make, and I've visited several of the distilleries that you have worked out of.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that I've never had a tequila that I know you've got your hands on that I haven't found absolutely amazing. So I'm really looking forward to this series where we can talk about how you created a certain flavor inside of a certain tequila. Because I'm going to make sure I have all of them. And when we do each series,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to talk about how did you get so much cinnamon in Suedo? Because that's always blows me away of how much cinnamon flavor there is in that one. And the first one that you mentioned, I never pronounce it right, but it's the first tequila that you made at 1639.
Yeah,
It has a beautiful bottle.
this one.
Yes, it's a beautiful bottle. And I actually got the opportunity to taste that when we visited 1639 the day before we met with you at 1412.
Mm-hmm.
And that tequila was out of the tequilas we were tasting there. It was one of my favorite ones. And I had no idea that you were the master distiller of that until much later. And we did get to tour that distillery, and they had just received these new pine fermentation tanks they had filled up with water that were leaking everywhere as it was getting the wood, prepared. And so I'm so excited about the information that you're going to be able to teach everybody. And I know it's going to take time before we get these all put together all the time, but I think it's really exciting that you're willing to do this. And plus, we're going to shoot one live when I'm in Arandas with you next summer.
Okay,
We're
yeah,
just
for
going to hang
sure.
out, maybe at Jaime's.
Yeah, Jaime's or a lot of
This
places.
time, maybe I'll remember eating dinner there.
Yes, or here in Arandas we have a lot of taco places. Well, talking a little bit about the tequilas, the brands that is giving me the opportunity to be his master distiller. Yeah, for example, in El Alma, right? So with this, let me tell you this: with all my brands, I am in charge about the quality, about the flavor, about the aromas of the tequilas, not the final prices, not the bottles, not the labels. So at the end of the day, this industry is so big, and I am just focused in my thing, right? For example, with this tequila, we run into the market because this was the first official brand that we are starting export from that distillery because it's a new, right? Let me tell you this. I like to, for me, it's a good challenge when we are working in a new tequila brand because at the end of the day, we are looking for the flavor and the aromas and the complexity like the tequila should have. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's a very, very complicated. Try to find the perfect balance between everything. Again, it's just a different options, right? Within El Alma, for example, this tequila is using deep well water, open fermentation, 100% with wild yeast, right? And it's just my opinion, something that at the end of the day, I am very happy to drink it here or even with my wife and just to enjoy it, right? So first brand, 1673, you can see, 1620. 1639. So with this tequila, the owner, she gave me the opportunity to, okay, just explore the tequilas that you are trying to to drink, right? 40% alcohol by volume, Anco tequila, right? Just my ideas, my opinions about looking for some very specific flavors. We are removing the cogollo. Did you remember when I explained you about the cogollo? Can give you a little bit some bitter notes. So we are removing everything in that. Another one, Tierra de Ensueño, right? So, for example, with Tierra de Ensueño, we are exploring different ABVs. For example, this is in 42% alcohol by volume, right? And the most interesting thing about this brand is that we are sending the tequila for some days into the barrel in order to get different flavors, right? It's still a tequila blanco, but getting just a pinch of the barrels, the flavor of the barrels, right? According by the Mexican law, to be a reposado needs to live into the barrels minimum 2 months. So with this tequila, with this brand, it's just a couple of days, 1 week, X days. So let me tell you this: when we are producing that brand, we are collecting very almost a day different samples in order to try to realize when the tequila is ready to go. Right? Most of, for example, this one, right? This nom is the 1580 also, same distillery like Tierra de Ensueño. With this tequila, for example, this is reposado, we are not sending anything to the barrels for the blanco. We are changing very different the yeast and the fermentation way in order to maybe in some point it's not fair for the people or for consumers just produce one tequila and put the same liquid in two different bottles, right? And again, you can realize you can taste most and you can taste Tierra de Ensueño, and it's completely different because we are producing different tequilas. And at the end of the day, manuscrito, I don't have the bottle, but it's something that we are looking for. And just at the end, corrido, tequila corrido. So to be very honest, yes, this one. This is a challenge for me because Tequila Corrido right now has his own market. You know what I mean? Tequila Corrido right now has his own personal flavor, and the main idea, my main idea, is not to change the flavor. Is not to change. It just get a different tequila. Okay, maybe the tequila corrido that you have right now in your bottle, it's enough good to drink it, and for you, it's a good tequila. My idea is to keep going in that same way, right? Trying to preserve as much as possible the flavors, the particular flavors of the tequila corrido, but also giving to you a little bit my own personal ideas in order to produce, right? For example, tequila corrido was produced for the master Ana Maria Romero, which is a very good respected woman here in the industry. So my idea is not to say that that tequila is bad or something like that. No. At the end of the day, Ana Maria Romero has his own way to produce tequilas, which I respect too much because regarding about your original question, it's the way that we are trying to show or trying to share with the people different expressions, different tequilas, flavors, different something, right? So in my opinion, I like a lot to work with the new brands because the new one has all the potential to be in something really interesting or not, right? The people don't like it, and you are making anything at the end of the day. And with another brands like Tequila Corrido, which is more running to the market with his own flavor, at least for me, it's a little bit more challenge because again, we need to try to preserve the DNA of the tequila, right? And just getting different ideas in order to get same quality in a different profile or something like that. Are you understand?
Yes. So you want to keep the same DNA, the same flavor of Corrido, but create a lot of consistency throughout batches so people have that same flavor profile that they're used to, but then maybe put your touches on it to enrich it just a little bit.
Yeah. So, for example, for Tequila Corrido, we are exploring, well, since several years ago, they are, for the reposados and for the añejos, for example, they are playing a lot with different barrels, right? Very unique cask, very unique barrels. they first produce the tequila and send to the American oak, for example, and then they finish into the French oak or something like that, which is very, very interesting, at least for me, because my expertise or my abilities is just to produce tequila blanco. To be honest, I am trying to find a good way to make a good blends with the reposados and with the añejos. So with tequila corrido, yes, I think that the biggest challenge is the consistency between the lots, the whole productions. At the end of the day, there is no doubt that you are drinking, for example, tequila corrido DNA, right? And just with a fresh face, with my personal skills. For example, too many people say that all the tequilas that I am working and I am helping to produce, maybe my particular taste is some citrus, right? Maybe it's because there's some way that I like to make the distillations in a different labels, in a different categories. But another day, maybe is that my point, right? The citrus in the tequilas, which is good or which is bad, I don't know. Because for example, if you can realize different master distillers, at the end of the day, has his own particular flavor. Maybe my particular flavor is citrus, right?
Well, I can't wait to do more of this series and learn what your fingerprint of tequila is. So when we pick it up, we can go, wait, that's Oscar Vazquez. I
Yeah,
got to
my
taste that.
fingerprint.
And I think the next video we should do, let's talk about your favorite part.
Mhm.
Let's talk about fermentation. And in the next video, you can explain all of the different ways tank, temperature, time, yeast, all of those things that make up fermentation. And we do just a whole fermentation series. So that'll be the next one coming out. I can't wait to do that. And Oscar, I want to say thank you to you because I know that you're one of the busiest guys in all of tequila. And to be able to schedule some time for me at the end of the day really makes me really happy and glad to call you a friend. And I can't wait to do more of these. So thank you very much.
No, thank to you for the opportunity to show my ideas and my personal opinion again. I am a very, very honest person, and you know me, and the people know me. I am very open also to listen the consumers, to listen the market, the people, because at the end of the day, again, we are producing tequila for the market, not just for me, right? So yes, I am completely agree with you talking about. Trust me, just to talk about the hydrolysis or just to talk about the the fermentation, we spend 6 hours minimum. So I am very open, Brad, with you, with your viewers, with your audience, with your people. It's gonna be very funny or very interesting experiment if you start to make some question that you have, and in some point I try to answer, right? So I do believe that it's
Yep. I'll have some good ones.
very interesting to open the videos and open the microphone for all the people and let me what are you thinking. You have some ideas, some question, maybe you listen someday that something is good, bad, medium, just to put final point in that. Just give me the opportunity to change a little bit your idea about good tequilas and bad tequilas, right? Because again, there is not bad. Maybe it's something that is not for you, but it is not bad.
Right. Now that's so true. That's so true. And this is going to be so fun. What are you drinking over there? Don't tell me you're just drinking water right now.
Well, right now, let me share something with you. Let me share a little bit of an el alma. No, I don't have a
There you go.
paper.
I'm working off the Corrido Blanco.
Okay, cheers, and thanks so much for. Let me tell you this with. Two or three tequilas, my English is almost perfect, trust me, and your Spanish is so much better. So at the end of the day, the key is
My yeah, I know my Spanish gets really good. My Spanish gets is muy bueno.
with tequila. The tequila has the ability to keep the tequila has his own language, right?
That is so true.
So talking about first, my first production of tequila corrido, it was done, it was produced. So I am waiting, or we hope that we can release my first batch, my first lot now in May. I'm gonna let you know the number just to get a comparison, and please be very honest, right? Is this good? Is my fault? Is this bad? Is my fault? Again, it's just my own idea.
You know me.
Exactly.
You know me. I'll be very honest with you. I'll tell you what I like and what I don't. So,
Please.
all right. So you go hang out with that family tonight. Thanks for doing this with me, and cheers. We will get one set up soon.
Can't wait to see you here, amigo. Right now, I am starting
I can't wait to be there.
to travel to United States. I am gonna be in different events. I let you know.
Perfect, my friend.